Good morning, friends. Welcome to Dream Big Today. My name is Debbie, and this is Thankful Thursday, November the 6th, 2023. Oh, no, it's 2025. Just kidding. Mercy, I don't know where I come up with that. I'm going to have to look back and see what happened during this time in 2023. Maybe I want to go back to it. I don't know. Well, we are in Ezekiel 14 through 16 today, and Hebrews, last part of Hebrews 7, and it's going to be brief this morning. I've got a baptism to attend at our county detention center. Isn't that awesome? We've got a whole list of inmates that signed up through our Bible studies to be baptized today. So this is going to be a short uh, time with you in just talking about the word. I want to start out by just a little nugget that I had written in the past about it. In 1992, President Bush, in his State of the Union address, said, "In the past 12 months, the world has known changes of almost biblical proportions. The world is still a dangerous place. Only the dead have seen the end of conflict. And though yesterday's challenges are behind us, tomorrow's are being born." Then Dr. Graham, Billy Graham, in 1965 said, speaking of the 60s as a time of anger and outrage and as a warfare of conflicting ideologies and lifestyle. Now, does that still sound like today? Does that sound like what we're going to be reading about in Ezekiel? It's amazing. And what's amazing is we know that we're supposed to obey. We read that in the Bible every day. Who is reading the Bible with us? We've got to share that and get the word out for people to do this. It says and this is the Lord talking to Ezekiel, "Son of man, suppose the people of a country were to sin against me, and I lifted my fist to crush them, cutting off their food supply and sending a famine to destroy both people and animals. Even if Noah, Daniel, and Job were there, their righteousness would save no one but themselves, says the sovereign Lord." Sometimes we want to lean against that churchy person, that religious person, and lock arms with them because we think that we're going to be able to do what we want to do, but we're going to be escorted into the pearly gates with them. You know what? That's not going to work. Where it's all individual. Daniel, says the three guys, Noah, Daniel, and Job. Daniel was the only one living at this time. He had not yet arrived at the prime of his position, but he was already famous because of how he walked the walk. And he was carried away to captivity. We'll be reading about that in 1 Daniel 6. So I think that popped. I think that's interesting that he is included in this. So suppose that I were to send wild animals to invade the country, kill the people, and make the land too desolate and dangerous to pass through. As surely as I live, says the sovereign Lord, if those three men were there, they wouldn't be able to save their own sons and daughters. They alone would be saved. Alone. It's individual responsibility. He goes on to talk more about suppose this, suppose that. Um, and, bottom line is, in the presence of these three men, God would not spare the land of Israel from the judgment of the sword. In verse 21, now this is what the sovereign Lord says, how terrible it will be when all four of these dreadful punishments, which are war, famine, wild animals, and diseases, fall upon Jerusalem. But there will be survivors. and they will come here to join you as exiles in Babylon. You will see with your own eyes how wicked they are, and then you'll feel better about what has been done in Jerusalem. Are you seeing uh, signs like this at the time right now? Chapter 15 is a short one. And so the message comes again, Son of man, how does a grapevine compare to a tree? Is a vine's wood as useful as the wood of a tree? Can its wood be used for making things like pegs to hang up pots and pans? The people of Jerusalem were useless to God because of this idol worship that they were doing. So they would be destroyed and their cities will be burned. And the vine wood used is useless. It burns for sure, but quickly, and nothing doesn't produce anything. So as we move on, let me turn my page and clip it. I want to jump on over to chapter 16. Now, chapter 16 is the longest chapter in Ezekiel, and according to one rabbi that I had read, it was not to be read in public. There's so many metaphors in this. Not all is metaphorical, but so many, and it is brutal. If people today thought this was going to happen, there would be such a revolt and riot and everything like that, because everybody wants to live according to their own truth. They don't want to be told no. They don't want to say that's immoral, that's illegal, or that's unsafe. They want to do what they want to do. Now, so let's read to see what he says. Son of man, confront Jerusalem with her detestable sins. Give her this message. And then it talks about their mother and father. On the day you were born, no one cared about you. Your umbilical cord was not cut, and you were never washed, rubbed with salt, or wrapped in cloth. No one had the slightest interest in you. No one pitied you or cared for you. On the day you were born, you were left unwanted, dumped in a field, and left to die. But I saw you, El Roi, the God who sees, saw you there, helplessly kicking about in your own blood. As you lay there, I said, live. God sees everything. I helped you thrive. And then he goes on to say what all he did for Jerusalem in this metaphor of a young baby. You grew up, everything about you developed, and when I passed by again, I saw that you were old enough for love. I wrapped my cloak around you to cover your nakedness and declare my marriage vows. Remember about Boaz and Ruth, and how she laid at his foot and he covered her, or she pulled his robe up over her, the corner of it, for a commitment. And then starting in verse 9, I bathed you, I rubbed oils on you, I gave you clothing, I gave you jewelry, I did everything. This is so many things that he did for this person in this metaphor, that he did way more than just giving them something to eat and a little bit to drink. He gave them something that they just loved. They just felt like a princess. He gave them choice flour, honey, and olive oil. Dressed you in splendor, and everything was good until it's not. Verse 15, but you thought your fame and beauty were your own. What do we do? How can that come about? We tried it on, we showed everybody, and we posted it on Facebook, and we wanted everybody to see all the good things that we got. And then it went to our head. I got these good things because I'm so good. I got these because I'm special. Well, the pride starts building up. And in these next few verses, I highlighted every time God says, I gave you, I had given you, I gave you. It was nothing on their own. Some people like to say that there's a self-made person in the successes they've done. But you know what? God has given you. He has gave you. Everything about it. And here it says, you used the lovely things I gave you to make shrines. You took the jewels I had given you and made statues of men. You used the beautiful clothes I gave you to dress your idols. Imagine, you set before them as a sacrifice the choice of flour, olive oil, and honey. I've given you everything here. God gave to Jerusalem, and they just changed everything. They went to their own. They were patting themselves on the back every day that they got up and showed their shiny new idols, showed all of the sacrifices, all of this, the choice. On every street corner you defiled your beauty, offering your body to every passerby. Endless stream of prostitution. Are we doing that today? When I few times I watch the news and I see what people are doing, what they're saying, it's like we are currently in an endless stream of prostitution. We've got to change that, folks. We got to get back to the word. We got to get back to see how good our God is and not sin so terrible that that everything's going to be wiped out. Because what happens here, the people grew proud in verse 15. They forgot their beginning in verse 22. They were weak in understanding and in resolution. They just took things for granted. This is beautiful. We've got all the food we need. We got all the clothes we need. We've got everything handed to us on a silver platter. They forgot who gave that to them. Their idolatry became worse. They went after other gods and formed alliances with the other nations. So when they got so used to all of the things that was around them, they start searching for something new and improved rather than going back. I will gather all your allies, all your lovers, every thing that you had loved and those you hated. I will strip you in front of them. I will punish you. I will cover you with blood. Then I will give you to these nations, and they will destroy you. See, I mean, an easy one to fall back on is John 10:10. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's what was happening in the beginning of this, and that's where they are right now. It is something that, they didn't step away from. They will band together and mob you and stone you, and they will burn your homes. I will stop our prostitution and end your payments to your many lovers. It's a hard story to read. But we have a better story to read, and this is in Hebrews 7:18. Now, I'm not saying not to read that. We need to read that and get the realization of what happens whenever a nation rejects the goodness of God. But whenever we look in Hebrews today, we read about Jesus. And in verses 7, or chapter 7, 18 through 20, it's talking about, on one hand, a former commandment is set aside because of its weakness and uselessness, better, to highlight Christ's superiority. So when you see better, think of this: superior person, Jesus over angels, Moses, and Aaron. Superior hope, not law, but Christ priesthood. Superior covenant, new, not old. Superior promises, spiritual, not earthly. Superior sacrifices, Christ is over the animals. Superior possession, heavenly, is it better than earthly? Superior country, heavenly, is better than earthly. And superior resurrection, eternal, not temporal. So, better. This is not just a comparison of it's decisive, ultimate superiority, grounded in Christ's person and work. And then verse 22, I'm going to hop down to that and then I'm going to have to go. This makes Jesus the guarantor of a better covenant. Now, have you ever had to get somebody to guarantee a loan that you were wanting to buy a car or buy something and you couldn't do it on your own? You had to get somebody